Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Shaw with the East West Show with GNE TV. Me and my team, take lots of responsibilities. We want to be if I may quote from Mr. Su, our boss, that we wanted to be a responsible media. Being responsible means that we want to make sure that we bring positive information to the day-to-day service. And of course, there is criticism to talk about, and we do not live on criticism. We do not live on finger pointing. We have more holes to be fixed rather than discussions or argues or debate or fighting. Right? Now, today, to get a better result, to help with our quote-unquote politics, we are honored to be visited by a wonderful individual, Mr. I would say Commander Joe Shamas. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. It's great to be here.
To your credit, I have to assure you, this brief man served in the U.S. Navy for 25 glorious years. And he made from a private or what?
E1. That's
E1.
Recruit.
From E1 all the way to a commander. And of course, started very low key, started as low as he was a child from an orphanage, all the way to a wonderful commander of U.S. Navy. And now he's ready to make his next move to run for Congress member of the 29th District. So, sir, you are especially welcome to the show once again.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Helping me with this show is my dear friend, my brother, in my eye, a fighter for justice, Mr. Chris Shahinian. He is advocate for always. He is a fighter for justice to deserve the name.
Thank you.
And he was the former candidate for California Senate.
Okay.
And the other day I checked with him, says, are you running this year? He says he will, but not right now. So, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
Good.
It's an honor to be here also.
My lovely audiences, it is important that if you like the freedom, you like the democracy, you want to get involved. To get involved, you first want to know what's going on, what's happening, right? In the California Representative District 29, number 29, we're about to put a new man for the job. The new man, the new representative being Commander Joe Shamas. So, sir, if you would tell us, starting the whole thing, tell us a little story about yourself, just assuming your first time here. I know that the last time you did a good job, though. And lots of people call me, say they like you. All right. So, please, your story.
Well, good morning, everybody, and it's great to be back. I want to thank Jack for hosting us again. I think it's an incredible honor for me to be here, to talk to you, and have an opportunity to kind of highlight why you would want to advocate on my behalf and help other people to recognize that to really participate in democracy, we all have to be involved. We have to register to vote and vote.
Yes.
I came to this country in 1971. Actually, on the 18th of March, I will be a United States citizen for 44 years. March 18, 1974 was when I got my citizenship. So it's really been a transformational thing for me. As you may know, if you have the first time on the show, I grew up in an orphanage for 12 years, and I did come to the United States, and I was very fortunate because there's so many opportunities here. At least at that time, they were very, very available. And we sometimes take it for granted that everybody has those opportunities and the opportunities remain. In fact, it's far from that. So many of the things that we enjoyed in the early 70s and the 80s are pretty much gone. So we have to fight to get those things back to all the people that live in America, not just the immigrants, but all the people that work very hard to be able to realize the dreams that they have. Because America, bar none, is the best country on earth, but we can always make it better by improving life of the citizens and the people that live here. And that's why I'm running.
Very well said. Very well said.
Thank you.
My dear friend Chris, why are you supporting him? A simple question.
Well, of course, first, as a former candidate for California State Senate, I run because I wanted to have our people representing people they care about, other citizens. And today, in this political complex system, it's very hard to find candidates that purely running on behalf of people and to improve the quality of life and people's life better. So knowing our political system today, its majority of candidates that come from background that's supported by big corporations or unions behind them so they can push their agenda. That's why American values are disappearing now, because our elected officials now, they all represent big corporations and unions. And people are forgotten. So that's why when I see a candidate running on behalf of people, putting his resources, his time, his family, everything he got to improve Californians' life and Americans' life, I will support that candidate. And Joe is that unique candidate. There's no big corporation behind him. There is no unions behind him to support him. But there's a lot of people, a lot of California residents are supporting because he's valued, because he served the country.
Right.
He knows how to serve our nation, and his agenda and his platform, it's everything about us, not about corporation, not about unions.
I mean, take me in, sir.
Thank you.
Right. I owe my audience a little explanation why I take myself in. Right. Doing my job in this position, I have the advantage and disadvantage. The first to say the disadvantage, I quite often get depressed by seeing people, how they run their things, how they say their things, how they handle the politics. And the advantage is that I got opportunities to get to the people that I admire, who share the same mindset with me, who have the same philosophy with me. All right. With Chris, I recall many months ago, he was here for the first time. We were talking about homeless. When we came to a point, we mentioned that there are about 51% of food being wasted, and yet there are 46,000 of homeless on the street. I saw him clearly, tears in the eye.
Yeah.
Right. My mom used to tell me that somebody who will share their tear with you, they trust you. Right. And the man has a heart. And from then on, I look at him from a different angle. Right. And with you, Joe, excuse me for addressing you, Joe. You're a Commander Shamaz.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Please
to the public anyway. I feel that we're one step closer learning your story. Your story is the typical example why American Dream is called American Dream.
Yeah.
A kid from an orphanage at 12 years old, from that point on, you can see how low the starting point is. And a U.S. Navy commander gloriously retired with lots of honors, right? And you can see in between how many miles you tell me, right? And yet, in the United States, under this beautiful flag of democracy, things happens. However, exactly like you said, things are no longer what they used to be.
Yeah.
We stop seeing, at least we see less and less of those things that we feel proud of, we admire about, right? So that is why we need somebody to get into the business. The business I call the quote unquote the politics. The somebody is somebody like Commander Joe Shamaz.
Thank you, Jack.
My dear friends, today we're talking about serious business. In the first segment, we are doing the introduction. By doing the introduction, I literally introduced myself, right? Myself being a responsible newsman, quote from my boss, that we are really exercising our responsibility to encourage our folks to get involved in the American politics by voting, by applying your right of knowing, right? So now, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we're going to dissect an issue to see where everybody stands. For example, we want to go use two issues today. Issue number one, we're going to talk about DACA. We use DACA as a sample piece here. We dissect it, and I'll ask you and you how you take it. And then we want to use the second one, which is school shooting. And we dissect it. I want you and you, your opinions. And I'll check my audiences. Also, your opinion is very, very precious to us. Write to us, say, to send it to tellmydj@gmail.com. Together, we cultivate. So we'll be right back. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans, welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West with the GNE TV. Today, joining me are two wonderful individuals. They are both my close friends who I admire for sharing the same mindset with me. Number one, we have Commander Joe Shamaz. He is a retired commander, well, in the U.S. politics. Once you're a commander forever. Well, best we can say, Commander Prentice is retired. All right? No, he's not retiring.
He's not retired. He still wants to serve.
Commander Shamaz, Joe Shamaz, from the U.S. Navy, with 25 glorious years of service, ready to go higher, running for U.S. Congress, 29th District of California. Now, next to him is my good friend, Chris Shahinian, a former candidate for U.S. Senate. In my eye, he is a fighter for justice. He has not only the guts to fight, but the knowledge to fight, and yet he has the nerves, the mindset to fight. All right. And I'll wait for the day for his next campaign. And he's joining me today in support to Commander Shamaz for his campaign. All right. Now, like I said, we want to use some example piece here to which we dissect, and then I'm asking you your opinions, right? Okay, now, first is our first example is DACA. DACA stands for
Dreamers.
Deferred action.
Deferred action for childhood arrival.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, anyway, so for DACA, we have more than 800,000 young kids there. If you relate that to their parents, though, you're talking about million and a half, 1,800,000 thing. So, to Commander Shamaz, what do you take about this group of people?
Well, we really have to look at this, like Jack said. We have to dissect it into little segments. And a segment I want to talk about today is these children that were brought here had no choice in any decision that was made on their behalf by their parents or by a family member or others that brought them here. So we're talking about an innocent person being in a country that they've only known as home. And the system that is supposed to be based on the Statue of Liberty, bring me your sick, bring me your poor, bring me everybody that's underprivileged, now is saying, we don't want you. That is immoral. That is wrong. And that is something we have to fight to make sure that we retain what American values are. We are not people that throw kids innocently brought here out. So we have to address that.
Very well said. Very well said. And to Chris, what's your take about DACA and DACA kids?
Well, remember, Jack, we talked about this issue back in October, and you asked me direct question that what is going to happen to those kids. I told you then, back then, that these kids will not be deported, and I gave you my word, if you remember then, that because I believe in our constitution and our system that there was no way that we can change this most important value and throw it away that we kept it for 250 years. So now that deadline of DACA passed, March 5th.
March 5th.
March 5th passed. And of course, there's a confusion, there's a fear, there's frustration among these kids that this is their home, they know. But at the same time, the Supreme Court came to dismiss what Trump administration wanted to happen. And this kind of became now political war between DACA supporter and our Trump administration. Of course, this is, it becomes more complicated now because now Attorney General is suing California because California legislature knew that this day is going to come, March 5th is going to come, and they want to protect 1.2 million kids and their families. They passed a couple of legislation in support of not to be deported, those people. And that's created constitutional problem now.
Yeah.
Because federal government
Thank
trying to get those kids out and local state government preventing that from happening.
Thank you for the analysis. That's very thorough. I have a little confusion here. People sometimes confuse themselves between the two issues, right? The wall issue and the DACA issue, right? You give me this, I give you that. You don't give me this, I don't give you that, something like that. So lots of people say that they are separate issues. Do you, Commander, agree with the fact that they are separate issues?
Well, when it comes to really addressing this, we have to go back and address what is in America's best interest, what are the values that make us as Americans as the bright spot that every person in the world wants to come to. So when we address it from that perspective, really all the issues center around maintaining the values that make us Americans. The wall is one aspect of it, the immigration one aspect of it, security is another aspect of it. But together, collectively, they look back and saying, how can we work together to maintain the values that make us America, make us the dreamland of all people that wish to come here. So, like Chris said, when we go back and address why this nation was created, it was created because of the persecutions that people had in other countries. Taxation without representation, freedom of religion, and so on. So this country was based on that. So when we focus from that aspect, we have to maintain that vision is what created America and made it great, and what we have to stay on track and keeping up with that vision.
I believe that Commander Shammas deserves a higher office because your analysis seems to be one more elevation higher.
Thank you, sir.
You're talking about that the simple conflict in between American value, right? American value, if we call it a spiritual, and then there is American economy, we call it a reality.
Yes.
Neither in reality nor in the spiritual area or field of areas deny the fact that they are here since childhood, right? Now altogether, it comes to a humanity point of view, humanitarian point of view.
Yeah.
Is it too cruel to punish them? who were at no fault, who are still at no fault, right? Okay. My dear friends, my lovely audience, today we really want to get into the bottom line of the issue. We are dissecting DACA to see what's inside. With me is my friend, a candidate for Congress, 29th District, representing the Valley, the San Fernando Valley. My dear friend, my beloved, my hero, Commander Shamaz. He's been serving in the U.S. Navy for 25 glorious years, retired with lots of medals, and I wish he had 2 jackets that can wear the whole thing. And with him, my friend Chris Shahinian, former candidate for California Senate. I don't know what's wrong with people. In my eye, he should have won the election double time, I would say. Anyway, so we support my team. We support only the one who deserves the best. All right. So stay with us. Commander Shamaz is the one who deserves the best. Stay with us. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back. You're welcome back to the show talking about his campaign for congressional seat of 29th District in California. Mr. Joe Shamaz, Commander Shamaz, and Sir U.S. Navy service member, proud commander for 25 years. So, sir, welcome back to the show once again.
Thank you, sir.
And also, my thanks goes to your thorough analysis for having brought the issue of DACA to a certain elevation that you're talking about either from American value or from American societal needs. We do not see why we shall punish them.
That's right.
And with him is my good friend, Mr. Chris Shahinian, a former candidate for Senate House of California. Once again, I don't know what's wrong with with it, and in my eye, he would have been in his office for 2 years already.
Next time, definitely, we'll do it. But let's focus today on DACA. I think this is very sensitive issue, Jack. I don't want to interrupt you, but this DACA issue is not over yet. And let me tell you why. Because in our Constitution, the design that we have, our genius founding father, the way they put, no one can govern United States without coming to the center. So now what we're seeing now, and that two sides going too far left and right. Midterm election will determine what's going to happen for DACA. And I believe, I can say that I said in October, this midterm election in November is going to change completely today's political atmosphere. Many supporters of DACA, they're going to win. And I believe that the new Congress, as soon as come in January, they're going to address this issue to protect DACA to stay.
To include him.
To include them.
To include him, well, 29th District.
That's why it's so important.
Yeah, that's why I said
so important to win, to support Joe Shamaz. Jack, I know you're supporting. I want your audience to support him. People, they live in California, support him, because in order to win this election, we need to have good candidate, which we have. Joe Shamaz is a great candidate. We need resources. If we have enough resources, believe me, we can put good people like Joe Shamaz and others to elected officials, and we can change this cycle of going backward American dream. We can start shifting the pattern and go to a direction that American as founding father, they found this.
Thank you very much for that encouragement. I believe my audiences have well accepted.
Thank you.
All right. And also, I appreciate the fact that Commander Shamaz even mentioned one poem. lots of people might not have noticed what he quoted, say, give me, you poor, your heart of messes, yearning to breathe free, right? That was a quotation from Emma Lazarus. Let me explain to my audience what happened. United States was founded in 1776, right? By 1876, 100 years anniversary, we convinced all the rest of the folks on the world, on the earth, global earth, that we are a nation with the most general mind, right? And then, I mean, for those who are touched, there were French who decided to stand as a Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
So starting the preparation then, by 1882, the statue arrived. Upon arrival, that was exactly the moment when in politics, they are cooking the Exclusion Act. The Chinese Exclusion Act was given birth to 1882, the 1882 Exclusion Act, right? Yes. So there was a fight already there talking about exclusion, and that was the moment the statue arrived. So in preparation for the statue, they need a foundation for the statue.
Yeah.
For the foundation, they started fundraising whatsoever, and then they decided to have a poem for the establishment. So Emma Lazarus, an Italian immigrant, was chosen to write a poem, and the poem was later on engraved into the basement of Statue of Liberty. You guys go to New York, you see Statue of Liberty. Go downstairs to see the basement, and on the basement there is a brass engraved the poem, which Commander Shamaz just quoted, goes like this. Right? I'm going to share with you one more time because this is what I call American spirit. Says, not like the brazen giant of a great frame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gaze shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exile. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that the Twin City frame. Keep, ancient lands, you story-pumped, cried she with silent lips. Give me, you're tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Good
All
job,
right.
That's a
Good
wonderful.
Thank
job.
you very
Great.
much. Thank you very much.
Great.
In 1936, Congress made a decision to take this as a standard motto for American spirit, American value. Now, we don't see those. No. We see those shithole countries. Is that the term?
It's a shameful reference, yes.
Yeah. What?
That's what was
Am I
referred
using
to,
the wrong term though?
No, that was what they
shithole
called.
countries,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's what
Right.
was used.
Okay. Anyway, so compared to the "give me, you're poor, your hollow messes, yearning to breathe free," right? You tempest tossed all to me, these is totally goes in conflict 180 degrees. Sir, Commander Shamaz, we need you there, please.
Thank you. I mean, and I just want to elaborate a little bit about what Jack read. I think it's an incredibly powerful message. And I do want to say, this is the Women's Week. So I want to commemorate all women, and particularly in reference to this now, the lady. Mm-hmm. The lady.
Mother of
the Statue
Exile.
of Liberty is the mother of our land, is saying those things. So to all the ladies out there, to all the mothers, all the sisters and daughters, I want to congratulate you. I think 1 week is really horribly underrepresenting what the women do all around. So for me, it's every day of the year. However, we'll take what we can get for now. 1 week, and this is the week of the women, and I want to congratulate Jack for really referencing the lady with the beacon
Yeah.
to show us the light and the way.
Prison lightning.
Yes.
All right. Okay, my dear
You guys are on
audiences.
fire. I like
Sure,
it.
let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we use the school shooting and we dissect it. We'll see how and where everybody stands. So stay with us, please. Hello, dear friends, the lovely folks. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show with the G&E TV. Getting a little excited because in going back into history, I feel kind of sweet and sour. Sweet and sour mix. The sweet part being that in history we have great poets such as Emma Lazarus, and who created the American spirit. And the sour part is that we are no longer that much. We totally forgot everything. Yeah. Instead, in a sense, use story pomp to keep your ancient stories, whatever, right? Whatever you don't want to give it to me, right? Yeah. Now we're saying you guys from the shitty hole countries or something like that. Okay, what a contrary. I'm not a supporter for him, but whatever he does good, I vote for. Right. I don't want people with a ill-minded definition to countries like that. Anyway, with me today is my good friend, Commander Joe Shamas, and he put up 25 glorious years of service in U.S. Navy, and also my friend Chris Shahinian. He was the former candidate for U.S. Senate, right? And both of them are my role models. So I wish that Commander Shamas gets his office. We want you to promise only one thing: bring this along with you, right? Not myself, I mean what's in there.
Of course.
And you, of course, run your next office, right?
Together.
Good. Okay.
Together.
Why right now we're talking about school shooting? What have you seen from the school shooting?
Let me just, again, I like to go back to the history. When our Constitution wrote down, and one of the amendment, third amendment, there was like about a small loophole that some people, they find a loophole and to sue United States government. Mm-hmm. And immediately our founding father find out this is not going to be right. They amend the 11th amendment that prevent anybody from suing United States government. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying, the reason I say the Second Amendment, the same issue now. Second Amendment, when we had this Second Amendment to carry arm, it was to carry arm for a reason. Mm-hmm. And today, the Second Amendment, people, they're protecting, we need to protect Second Amendment, but has been abused by some people to sell their product, heavily automatic weapons, to the people that they are using this against people and mass shooting. Mm-hmm. So I believe we have to go look the principle and the heart of our Constitution. Mm-hmm. Second Amendment was never intended to kill American people. Never, ever.
Okay, anyway, all right, good. And to our future congressman, yes, what's your take in the school shooting? What did you see?
Well, I think it's a very, very sad times in our nation. First of all, we want to extend our condolences and our prayers mm-hmm. and support of the families and the students that witness this horrendous mm-hmm. crime. I mean, kids go to school to learn, to get educated, to open up their minds, to be able mm-hmm. to become productive members of society and mm-hmm. pursue the dreams that they have. And that's something that is shattered when there's a extreme violence like this, it shatters those dreams. So it's going to take some rebuilding to help these kids, not just the ones in Florida, but kids pretty much in every school, to understand that we, as elected leaders, must provide a safe haven, a safe environment for them to get the roots that they need for the foundation of the education that makes them and builds their character and their contributions to our great country. So, like Chris said, we talked about Second Amendment rights and so on. But in this particular case, I want to focus on this case in Florida. This deranged young man had posted in public media his full intentions of what to do. And the authorities were aware of that. And the authorities did not do anything about it. So when there's an issue that resulted in this horrendous crime, where is the accountability for people that knew about it and didn't do something to stop it? This is where, as Chris was talking about, there's so much protection of rights and, you know, whether it's the Second Amendment and so on, but we have to look at the safety. Public safety is of paramount importance, and particularly public safety at the schools.
Okay, good. All right, good. Thank you for that analysis. That stands very strong for a government failure. I call it government failure.
It is.
All right? And because they have even agents, even law enforcement officers on the school campus, and yet they fail to do anything.
Yes.
Right? And then the system told them not to do because they were trained not to do. And then what are we paying tax for? Paying tax for somebody not doing their job? Right? Good. Now, my take. I'm going to share with you two. You correct me if I'm wrong. And also, I say this once again to my audiences. I used to be very much against gun right. Now I'm for it. I'm proactive now, right? Even though that doesn't mean I go buy a gun myself, I'm supporting the right. Now, the existence of Constitution number 2 amendment.
Second Amendment.
Second Amendment number 2 was exactly to make sure that people are protected if the government failed to protect them. Am I right? Now, we see enough examples, okay, from 2014 to 2018, from February to February, 239 school shootings had happened, and all of the school shootings, 438 kids were killed. So we have enough evidence that government failed to do the job to protect ourselves. It is time we protect ourselves. So let's turn it over. I used to go against gun right. Now let's go for it. Right now, that let's arm the school, arm whatever the campus, the school teachers, PE teachers, or whatsoever. Your take, sir?
Well, Jack, I want to congratulate you on speaking your mind, because I think this is what's been lacking in our society. People are not talking about what's really in their minds and what's in their souls. I, as an officer in the United States Navy, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. Second Amendment is part of the Constitution. So I'm all for maintaining individual security and safety by doing that. I do not own a gun. I was in the military. But it does not mean I say, Jack, you can't, or Chris, you can't. That's not up to me. It's your constitutional right. You have it. On the other hand, we have to look at and saying, are we really looking closely enough as to who has access to guns?
All right.
Who is able to purchase it, where they're able to purchase it, what kind of a system that we have in place to safeguard, one, clearly safeguard the rights of honest Americans to be able to exercise their right under the Second Amendment to be able to procure a gun. We should never, never mess with that.
All right.
That's the Constitution.
In other words, he's supporting gun control with reasonable terms and conditions.
Yes.
Right? With reasonable checks and analysis. Right?
Particularly mental health issues.
Particularly mental health issues.
Impact the person's decision to do that.
Please.
For the last 250 years, we were able to adjust our Constitution, our values, based on the changes. And what happened today, I have to tell you the truth, because this Second Amendment issue became big political issue, and we have to know what's behind it. Every candidate, when they put their name out, like Joe Shammas and myself, there's some of group they come to behind the scene to support, contribute to your campaign. And this gun lobbyists are the strongest lobbyists in the United States.
Sure.
They spend millions of dollars. They spend $3 million on, senator from Florida, I forgot his name. Rubio. So, and they spend millions of dollars. The reason is not to protect people. The Second Amendment is, for us, it's important. We don't want to mess with the Second Amendment. But what people are getting advantage, organizations or group, that is killing our people.
Let's do what they want, okay? The National Rifle Association, they want money, right?
They want
money.
money.
Now let everybody have a rifle, let everybody have a weapon, so their sales is up and everybody is protected. I said.
I think we should do the opposite. We should stop campaign contribution.
You can't stop it.
They
pay for 2 years, they pay $250 billion in lobbying, according to Congresswoman Judy Chu. The number she gave me.
True. That's what we need, to come up with a solution to stop this mess. That's why our Congress approval is now
what he recommends,
historical law.
What he recommends maybe works the best. Okay, let everybody do whatever they want to do, applying the Second Amendment, and then as a government, we'll tighten on the checks, on the checking, on the rules, on the buyings, on the training.
This is where I think it's critical for us to see the passion, even on this panel today, the passion on one side and the passion on the other side. This is where it's critical for people like me to be the mediators between both sides, to be able to say, okay, we are all Americans, number one. 2, we all love our country. And 3, we want safety in schools, we want safety in our streets, but we have different approaches on doing that. So as Jack said, and as Chris said, these are fundamental issues that are dividing the country. So we need to be able to start thinking, how could we unite people to bring them to come to terms? I think everybody would agree that if somebody is mentally unstable, when we take them to court, if they're mentally unstable, we don't try them, we put them in a mental hospital. So my take is, if you have a mentally unhealthy person, my view is I'm not violating his constitutional rights of the Second Amendment not to purchase a gun while he's mentally unstable, because the same value that we use not to try him in a court of law, we should use and not to be able to extend that privilege of being able to exercise his Second Amendment rights.
All right, good.
We would look, if we look at it from that way, I think we can start bridging the gap between both sides.
One thing I can say that he is already demonstrating his skills in handling debates, in handling argument, in handling two kind of excitement. I excite my way, you excite your way, right? And he comes in.
Great.
Well, good. You start working today already.
Well,
all right, good.
Yes,
we're
sir.
a little over time. I have to wrap it up. But today, my appreciation goes to Commander Shammas. He has been in Navy service for 25 years with lots of glories and huge credit. Now he's ready to serve in a different way, running for Congress, California 29th District for a congressional seat. And with my good friend, Chris Shahinian, he is my hero. He is always my brother and lover to the community. And I wish him next time when he runs his next campaign a better luck. And well, of course, he has himself well established. That's it.
Thank you.
That's
together,
good, right? Okay,
together,
very good.
Make changes.
My dear audiences, if you have anything to say, please write it to me. Tell my DJ at gmail.com. It's right there on the screen. Tell my DJ at gmail.com. We need your website, campaign website, please.
Yes, www.joe, Shammas, SHAMMAS.com. We invite you to go there and please look at our issues and
Very
how
good.
you can help us in this journey.
Sure,
Thank you very
and
much.
also, my audience can see the website address is right in there on the big screen. It's www.joeshammas, SHAMMAS .com, right? So, my dear audiences, let's put our efforts together. If we want to change, let's do something about the change. You can't sit there and say change, but doing nothing. You got to actually do your part of the job. Please join me in the fight. Join Chris in the fight. We will work together. All right. Thank you very much, my dear friend.
Thank you,
Thank
Jeff.
you.